Hello all, welcome back to Tech with Amru. So this is part 3 of building a UI automation framework from scratch. So we already discussed about how we are writing the script for the Orange HRM login page that we have discussed. And apart from that, we have just created our config.property file, and we have created the framework constants where we are defining the all the static paths of the our framework, like extend report and config.property, and we have already like defined the root path of our project by using system.getProperty. We will get the root directory, user.directory, and in that we are navigating till resources, so where we are having the all the config property and excel path, and extend report, it will be under our root directory itself, so we have given the root directory, and extending with the extend test output, so that we have all the things we have given under the framework constant. And we already learned how we can create the enum class, and what is the benefits of creating the enum class. So we will not be creating the every time visibility, like for weight strategy, we will not be every time creating the clickable and visible all those weight methods. So instead of that, we are just calling this weight strategy class enum, and we will be having an explicit weight that we are going to discuss in today's session. So today's session is very important. So we are going to cover all the things like related to driver initialization, and how we are managing the driver instance, and how in case of parallel execution, how the driver instance will be shared between all the test cases, so by using the thread local, that all the things we are discussing. And also like how we can read the property file, and we can whatever the Orange HRM login flow we have created, so that all the things we will be separating those from the means segregating in each and every different class, so that we are going to discuss in today's session. So keep like if you have any questions or something, so keep posting in a comment section, so I will be addressing those as well. And if there are any improvements, please let me know, so I can improve in my next session as well. So first we'll go with a read property file. So if we have a config.property, how we can read that file, so that we are going to write a code for that. So first we will create a constructor of this read property file. So make sure if you want to use this constructor in another class, or if you are extending that class, then in that case, instead of maintaining private, you can give it as public, so then only we will be able to inherit this class. So if your constructor is private, then you will not be able to extend that class or create the what you can't create the object for that. So that is the one thing. And we will create properties is equal to new properties, and I will be writing one static block, so it should get executed before name. So before executing any class, so the static class should get executed. So here I will be writing the code for getting the adding the file input stream is equal to new file input stream. So here we are going to read that whatever framework constant we have added. So inside framework constant, we have added this config path and this we are using the getters to utilize by another class, so that we are going to use framework constant dot get config file path, and it should be surrounded by try and catch, because if that file doesn't found, so then we can throw this error. And properties okay. So this should be always static if you are accessing this method or this variable. So this should be static, and you can define it as public as well if you want to use it outside. If not, you can just maintain it as private. If it is only for this class, so then private. Properties dot load, and we can add the file input stream. So this also need to be catched if at runtime, if that any exception occurs. So we are adding the runtime exception here. So post this, we are going to get the value. For that, we will write public static get value of. So these all the things we are getting from the key. So whatever config property inside config.property we have. So those all the variables we are going to add in our enum class. So that is the reason we have created the enum class key. And string. Okay, so it should have some return value. So we'll write string value return value. Okay, so here we are going to get that value by using properties.getProperty get property, and we can add this key dot name of that key dot to lowercase. So in this way we are getting this value. So this is for read property file, and we will write our driver, so which is the main class. So the reason behind using DriverFactory, so instead of not using only one class to initiate and manage all those things, so DriverFactory is basically we are using it to create and configure the WebDriver instance. So that is the main reason we are using. Yeah. So the main reason for using this DriverFactory is to initialize the browser and do the browser setup, and we can add the headless mode, and we can define the size of that browser, and we can also mention the options, like we can add the arguments so that it should not open the notification, and extension should not be open, and side pop-up, those all the things should be disabled. For that all the things we are writing inside our DriverFactory. So here we will also create the public DriverFactory constructor, and inside that we are going to write, first we will create one method public static. So here we need to get the driver, so I am adding WebDriver and get driver, and we will pass the string browser name here, so which browser we want to initiate, so that we are writing, and we will check if browser dot equals ignore case of Chrome, then Chrome options is equal to new Chrome options, and if read property dot get value, if it is a, so we are here we are reading that if it is a headless or not. So for that I am giving, so I have already added this config.property file, so headless is there, so that we are going to add, and here it should match with yes. So whenever we are getting this value of the config property from this file, then we are going to, if it is yes, then we are adding the config for this add argument and headless, and we also can make that browser add argument window size is equal to 19, 20, 10, 80. So this is like default size of that maximize mode, so that also we can define in headless mode, and not if not headless, then we can mention options dot add arguments, then we can simply tell start maximized, this we can give, and other options like options dot add argument, we can disable GPU, and options dot add, we can disable notifications, and options dot add disable extensions in order to disable the extension, and options dot add disable pop-up blockers. Yeah, these are all the condition you can add, and later once you will add this one. So here I forgot to define WebDriver driver. Okay, and here driver should be outside the class. Driver so this thing you should always be careful, like if you are mentioning the method as static and if this variable is not static, then it won't be called inside the static block. So you should be make this variable as static or this method as non-static. So in that case you can just call that driver is equal to new Chrome driver, and you can add these options whatever you have added. Okay, so once you will add this, we can make the driver dot manage dot maximize that window dot maximize, and we can also delete the cookies by driver dot manage dot delete cookies. So it will clear all the cache, and once this is all done, so then we need to return this driver. Okay, so this is our driver factory class. So once we have this driver factory, so we can manage, we need to manage this driver factory. How we are going to manage? By using the ThreadLocal. To avoid the synchronization, all those kind of issues, we need to maintain the driver inside ThreadLocal. So if you are in order to pass to each and every test different independent drivers, so that we need to add inside the ThreadLocal. So private static ThreadLocal WebDriver is equal to new ThreadLocal. Okay, so once we have this ThreadLocal, so then we need to get this driver whenever we are required. So for that, public static, so in order to get that, we need to have a WebDriver and get driver. So we can get this driver by driver dot get. So before getting, we need to set this driver also. So here I need to return. So before getting, I need to set this driver, public static void set driver. So we need to set the WebDriver here. So you can give any name. I'm giving this graph, and driver dot set driver of graph. Okay, so once we'll set this all the driver, and we need to unload this once all these activities are done. So we will add for that public static void unload. So driver dot remove we are going to add at the end. So this is our driver manager class. So we have a driver class. Driver manager class is already I have discussed. We are adding the ThreadLocal. So thread 1 should go for, like, there will be independent thread. We are creating for each and every run. We are creating an independent thread. So by this way we can avoid the synchronization issue while running all the tests in parallel. So that is what we have written here, and driver factory is done, driver manager is done, and we have written the ready for read property is done, and we need to write a driver initialization. So this is an important step that we need to follow. So while initializing, before that I will just create one class constructor driver. Okay, and post this I am going to initialize the driver, public static void initialize driver. Okay, so or else like you can give simple name like init driver. Okay, so here we are going to pass the browser. What will be the browser name, and we are going to add driver. We are going to call driver manager dot get driver. So here inside get driver, in order to, sorry, not get driver. So we need to set the driver here first. So in order to set driver, we are going to create that driver and all in our driver factory. So how we are setting that one? By using driver factory dot, one second, driver factory dot get. Why it is not getting called driver factory dot get driver? Public is there. See guys, this is one more thing. So whenever we need to call this driver, means driver factory, by its class name, then that method should be static. Then only we can get driver factory dot get driver. So in our case it is not static, so because of that it is not able to access. And one more issue we are facing is WebDriver driver, so that we can make it as static WebDriver driver. So we can also make it as private static, and in this case driver factory dot get driver we will be able to call. And once we are calling this one, we need to pass the browser for the same. Okay, so this is like we are setting the driver. Okay, and we need to get the what is the URL we are passing. So that string environment we will get to know by one is we are directly whenever we are writing the maven command, so in that we used to pass maven test minus d URL. So there we are giving the staging or which one karke. So in this case we need to get that maven ka command, so it will be helpful when we are running these all the commands by using Jenkins. So in CI/CD, these all the things will be, we need to make sure if we are working in a like industry level framework, so then we need to handle this case also. System.get property of URL, and once we'll get this property, then we need to check if this environment is equal to null, or environment dot equals ignore case is staging. Then we need to add DriverManager dot get driver. So once we will initialize, we need to get the driver, and while getting the driver, post that we will need to redirect or navigate to that URL. So for that, get and read property file dot get value, and here you see like we have already discussed. So all the URLs are stored in case of currently in the our config.property file. So here we have a URL. So to access this one, we have added this URL inside this config.property. So same thing I'm using now, config property.url, sorry, not headless, URL. So we will get that URL of the staging, system.out.println driver get initialized with URL. So we are here, we are just to highlight that one, we are writing in uppercase. So in our logs we will get this data. So if it is not staging, then we can write environment dot equals ignore case from config property read property file dot, sorry, environment is prod. Then we will write same thing with prod, and currently we are not added that one, so just I am adding this one. So like we can extend it between the two different environment as well. This is done. And once we have the initialized the driver, post executing all the cases, we need to make sure that tear down is happening properly or not. So that we are writing for that public static void quit driver, and here instead of directly closing that one, we need to make sure if the driver is there or not. Okay, so driver manager dot get driver. So if this driver is not null, then only we need to do object dot non null driver manager dot driver factory driver, and we can write driver manager dot get driver dot quit, or we can make driver manager dot unload. We have added this already inside the driver manager class method inside that unload. So if we can control and over on that, so you'll be able to redirect. So we have created now until now. So if I quickly recap, read property file we have added, so where we need to access the all the data from the config.property, and we have a framework constant for that path we have given, and post that we have created the driver factory, so where we are adding the all the options and config for this driver, how it should open, and whether it is headless or head mode, and all the options and arguments we have added. And once it is done, we are managing that one using ThreadLocal, and in driver class we are initializing that driver by DriverManager.setDriver, and once it is get initialized, then we are assigned for navigating purpose we are using this URL to navigate, and post that for quitting the driver we are quitting using DriverManager.unload. So these all the things is done. So now we are going to perform the explicit wait whenever we want to wait. So we can't direct every time we need to write the WebDriver wait dot those all the things. So in order to avoid those all the writing of explicit wait in each and every method and all, so we can create one common file for that util. So where we are writing all the different type of wait strategies. So as we have already added those all the things inside our wait strategy enum, these only we are utilizing. So let me create one constructor for this also, explicit wait factory, and public static. So by this we are getting the web element as well, so that also I am writing public static web element, and perform explicit wait, and here we are giving wait strategy, which wait strategy we are using, and also by locator of Selenium, and we can write the WebDriver in order to create the instance of wait. WebDriver wait is equal to new WebDriver wait, and here we need to add the driver comma duration. So our driver is inside driver manager dot get driver, and we need to add the duration dot second of seconds, and here our explicit wait already we have defined inside our framework constants. So here we have defined the explicit wait. So here we have defined our explicit wait. So instead of hard coding inside the methods and all, we are defining in our framework constant. So framework constant dot get explicit wait we have, so that will get the value of that wait. Okay, and once we'll get this wait, we can perform the switch action for this wait strategy. We can write the case of clickable, and we can return that web element. So in order to return the web element, we need to use a particular wait until expected conditions dot. So we need to use element to be clickable, so it will use the by locator here, and post this we go with a case visibility return wait dot until expected conditions dot visibility of element located by located, so we use by, and case one more case is clickable, visible and present, return wait dot until expected conditions dot, here presence of element located by, that we can use, and post that we can add the default thing. So here if the all the wait are done, and if we don't have any wait, then we can create a exception, throw new illegal argument exception, and we can write define wait strategy is not available under wait strategy class. So like this we can handle this exception if that wait is not there, wait strategy is not there. And once we have this explicit wait and all, then we can go for the base page. So we have already covered how we are managing the driver and how we can write the common explicit wait factory. So from there we can access all those waits, and we have already covered this read property file. So we have covered all the five classes, and now we are going to look into the base page. So these are I have already copy pasted, so in order to like utilize the time, as we don't have much time to discuss all these things, so I am just adding this base page. So inside this we are using the all the type of actions what we are going to perform. So like if you can see here, so we have a click action, so where we are, these are the reusable methods basically. And why we are using this one, each and every page object class. So like if we can see here, login page is there, like that we'll be having home page and all other classes, page object classes. So those need to extend this base page, so where the basic things like clicking element, typing a text, reading a text, and visibility, and also like assertions, those all the things we are writing inside the base page. By extending this class, all the page object classes can do the perform this all the actions. So that is the main reason we have added this base page. And here these are the all the not the simple click action, these are the wrapper action methods. So where we are wrapping with another wait strategy and element to be clickable, we are verifying that one before performing that action. So these all the things we are adding inside our click method. Click by we are using, and wait strategy we are giving, and string of element. Like that we are returning the send keys as well, where we are sending the keys. Before that we are clearing that one, and we are also validating whether it is present or not by using the perform explicit wait factory. And here we are checking the getting the text. Before that same we are doing the, we are waiting for that element, and post that we are getting, and is element displayed, and is element present within. So we are using that wait method here, extra wait, so which is like not there in our present whatever wait strategy we have, so that we are using inside the base page. And apart from that, click using JavaScript, scroll element into view by using JavaScript. So here like we can JavaScript JS is equal to JavaScript, this is a interface, and we are doing the from driver to, we are just going one step down. So this is called as, this is explicitly we are what initiating that driver properties inside our JavaScript executor. And what else, getting a page title and current URL we are doing, and also like use URL contents and assertion we are doing, and wait page to load. So until that page load completely. So for that we are using the wait page to load. So here we are basically this is Java streams actually, so which is the concept of Java 8. So here we are first writing WebDriver wait is equal to new WebDriver wait, and driver manager same thing what we have saw in our explicit wait while creating the WebDriver wait instance, and wait until driver this JavaScript executor driver and execute script. So here we are waiting till the document state ready state will get equals to complete. So here we will be having a different state of page loading, so in progress and a complete state of complete, and one more was it like 3 different state we have. So those all the things it will verify, and if it is complete then it will stop here, until that it will wait. So these are the all the wrapper methods we are using inside our base page, and we have a login page. So here we are going to write our orange HRM login flows whatever we have done. So those we are separating by maintaining in page object, and this URL we are using in our config.property, and this driver setup we are doing in our driver classes, whatever drivers classes we have seen, DriverFactory, DriverManager and driver, there we are maintaining. Like this we are just segregating this all the actions, and whatever particular like driver initialization and waiting for web element and all, those all the things we are separating from the test. So our test class should look clean. So that is the reason we are doing this one. And one more thing I just want forward, like we need to write our base class basically. So this base class will be inherited by the all the test classes. So here what we are doing is basically like we are doing the before method and after method we will be having. So where in before method we are doing public static void setup we are doing, and here public static void tear down of browser whatever we have opened, that we will perform by using driver manager, sorry not driver manager, driver dot initiate driver. So here we need to pass the browser. So for that we will write if the, so here let me just check. So we are reading the property file dot get value and browser read. So what should be the like whether it should be read by our property file or by our Excel. So that Excel thing we will maintain separately, but as of now we are going with the config property. So if read property file dot get value config property dot browser read, so if it is dot equals ignore case is properties, then we are going to initialize our driver instance browser by config.property.browser, and we need to read this one by read property file. So browser name basically as I already told, key browser we will get it from here, and also we are defining the browser read should be from our property file. So this we have added, and once we'll initialize this one, so this means like we can write our system dot out dot println Chrome data read from properties file. Okay, and Chrome we have given as browser we have given as a Chrome, and else if this property value is equal to Excel, then we are reading these things from Excel. So this we currently don't have, so I'll just simply write system.out.println read from Excel file. So once we initiate this one, so we need to quit if the driver objects dot non null driver dot with driver. Okay, and we can catch, or we can run the finally block your driver manager dot unload. So this is basically like setup for base class, and also like we can do the tear down and public base class, and here we can write the always true, so it will run every time irrespective of like whether there is a pass or fail, that doesn't matter, it will run every time. So this we have already also defined the base class, and now we will write the login page methods and all, and variables and whatever like XPath and all those things, locator and their actions. So basically like page object model we are following. So in order to address and get the locators and perform the action on those locators, and we are maintaining the all the locators as private, so that cannot be directly accessed by another class. So by this we are here also we are maintaining the encapsulation, and we are performing the action, and that performed action by get by the methods whatever we are using. So first we will gather the all the locators whatever we are using. So here we have a username text, private final static by username text is equal to by, and for password also we need to just change this to password text, password text, and post that private final static by username field. So for that username field we have inside our by username and by password. Login button, so we took all these details, XPath locators details, and now we will perform the action on that. Public static void enter user name, enter username by we have a we will get the text from this, and we will use inside our user field. So for getting text we already have a method inside our base page, so we need to extend this base page, and we have a get text method here. So see, like this is not static, so we should not use the static here. That is the one important thing you need to maintain every time. Static it should not be static, and get text dot why it is not coming. it came. So here if you can check this, by we have wait strategy and element. So same way we need to give our by is username text comma wait strategy will be wait until it is visible comma string we can give get user name text, get username text, and once we will, so we need to add the exception string user name context is equal to, and once we will get this we need to use inside our string username field. So before sending that one, so we need to just trim this as well. So for trimming we will use dot split, and we need to split using username field. Once again let me just copy that because as we have already discussed about this. So we got this splitted data, and that we need to use inside our send key user name field comma wait strategy dot visible comma enter user name. Okay, second parameter is send key, so we need to give the username context comma. Once we have done this, same thing we need to do for password, entering password, enter password. Instead of username we need to password text and password context. This we need to use inside here password context, that's it. And here this instead of username we need to give password here. This password we need to split. Once this is done we are passing it to here, and same thing we need to do for the clicking on login. Click login button. For clicking login button we should not get anything, we need to just use click functionality by login button, wait until that is visible. Instead of this I can use clickable, and enter password, get password text, and click login button. These all the things are done, and password field where it is not matching. Okay, password field. These all the things we have done. So login page we have performed all the like actions and locators identification, all the things we have done, and just we need to use in our this page login page test class. So here I just wrote it as like private login page, and we need to extend this base class, and post that I need to just login, write a method public void perform login flow, and inside this I will just write login page dot enter username, login page dot enter password, login page dot click on login button, and I need to add this exception here in method. So once I will do this one I need to also write test in order to run. So these all the just I need to opening a browser and all is carried out by my DriverFactory. So now our test class looks very clean, and what we are doing all the action, so that will be here. So if I run this one now, so it is getting tear down. Initialize this, initialization is done. Browser data read from properties file, and null pointer exception we got. Why we are getting this one? Something related to our page class, I guess. Related to username. Let me just ask it to load that. So DriverFactory, and I will just comment out this one so I can just open and see that what it is happening. Cannot be resolved. Just telling read properties. Config browser. Okay, I got it. Somewhere I guess this properties is not matching with config properties. Is it not matching? Properties. PRO. This is matching. Then what is the issue? I can't see any compilation issue. There might be another issue. One second. Yeah guys, the reason behind that class was not running was the reason behind the case whatever it is failing. The reason is like it is giving null point exception. If you can see here, if you can see the that is giving the null pointer exception. So here what it is mean? So whenever that login page, this dot login, so this is failing because it has not never initialized. So if I initialize this one with new login page and save, and then if I run now, so this will pass. That initialization was not done, because of that it was failing. Now it will pass. See, it passed. And we can also run this with our maven test minus d test and with a class name. So if we are giving this one from command prompt also we can run. That's it guys for today's session. So we have learned how to initialize the driver, how to manage the driver, and how we can create the factory for this explicit wait. And we have done that reading the config.property file by using the read property file. And also we saw how what all wrapper class we can use inside the base base page, and what all wrapper methods we can create inside the login page, and what is the page object model. So a lot of things we have learned for today in today's session. So keep learning, and if you have any doubts or something, please comment out and let me know if I need to improve anything, so that I will improve in my next upcoming session. Till then, keep learning. Thank you guys. Bye bye.